Welcome to Abstract University. This module will cover ways to convert your pitch into a conversation through asking good, open-ended questions. To complete this module, please pause the video after each slide appears, take some time to absorb the content, and press play again. In reference to value, if you want to increase your value to a meeting or a conversation, make sure your questions create a learning experience for the participants. When you start hearing comments like, "That's a great question," or "I've never thought of it like that," you know you're asking good, open-ended questions. You can also create a buyer or seller's environment based on how you ask your open-ended questions. A question that would create a seller's environment would sound like, "Do you want your first invoice to be February or March?" A buyer's environment question would sound like, "When do you want to start marketing to the businesses that will represent your future sales?" The biggest takeaway from this slide is about conversation control. It simply has to switch between you and the prospect. When it doesn't, your interaction will sound like an interrogation, and it's almost impossible to create a buyer's environment when you're in control of the entire dialogue. So when you review your presentation, listen to hear if you're sharing control. These are great ways to start open-ended questions, but beware, using them won't guarantee that you'll end up with an open-ended question, but they're a great start. This is an easy concept to grasp, but it's just as easy to dive into the details. People will open up a lot faster if you take the time to make them comfortable having a conversation with you. We've talked a lot about practicing your presentation and planning the type of questions you're going to ask, but using good listening skills is critical to having a great conversation. When you ask the right questions, the prospect will typically tell you what you need to know to continue the conversation. So don't listen for the opportunity to talk again. Listen to understand what to talk about. So, on a few best practices. The two most common mistakes salespeople make when asking questions are asking multiple questions at the same time. Those sound like, "How do you manage your IT, and are you the decision maker?" Most people think it increases the chances that at least one of them are going to get answered, which is just not the case. And the second mistake is giving the person kind of a pull-down menu of answers to pick from. Those questions sound like, "How do you manage your IT? Internally, or do you use an outside resource?" In that case, you're literally taking away the opportunity for them to converse with you. And the last best practice includes starting your conversations in a broader scope before you get into the details. Asking questions in a logical order will also make the prospect feel more comfortable talking to you. You wouldn't want to ask, "How do you manage your IT?" followed up by, "How many users do you have?" followed up by, "When your contract expires." It's really choppy, hard to follow, and without a doubt sounds like an interrogation. To complete this module, please review the following questions. Ask yourself if they are or are not open-ended questions. If they aren't, think of two different options. How would you change them so they would be open-ended questions? And at times, you have to ask a closed-ended question, but it should always be followed up with an open-ended question. So think about what question you would use as a follow-up. Thanks for taking the time to watch this tutorial. Have a great day.